What's up, people? I'm putting this video out there for people who are lost, who are unsure of what's happening here, unsure of what lies after this life that we have, and I know what's after here from seeing it, and it's very scary, and it's my duty, since I'm still here, to let you know what I seen. At a point in my life, I was drug addicted. I was an alcoholic. My usual day was go to work. I always made good money, so I'd go to work, do my job. But after that, party hard. Drinking, drugging all night. Come home early in the a.m. Sometimes don't come home for a day or two. Go on binges with the drugs and this and that. And basically, it was like the Wild West. Anything went. I could do and did do whatever I wanted. I didn't care what anybody said. I had no consequences. I lived in excess and a total pagan lifestyle with not caring of anything. Now, during that time, my whole life I've loved Jesus in my heart, but I prayed every night. I prayed with my kids, but I knew I was a hypocrite. When I was home, I'd pray with them, but it was like, I'd pray with them, and then I'm a screw up. You know what I'm saying? So I was hypocritical, but I knew my kids needed to know the truth, and the truth was God. I just wasn't following the truth. And I remember in my addiction every day saying, Lord, please don't take me today because I am not ready. And I lived that pagan lifestyle for years. And one time, I was on meth, and I was up for 5 days, and I mean 5 days up. No closing of the eyes, none of that, just a blink. You weren't sleeping, you were up. And my body started to go into some kind of convulsion, ODing, whatever. I mean, my heart was jumping out of my chest, 911, ambulance, all that stuff. And I thought I was dying. And, I said goodbye to my children, because I didn't think I was going to see them again, honestly. And I was trying to give them, lifelong lessons as I can hear the ambulance a couple blocks away coming. Hey, guys, believe in God. Don't be mad at God. Try and be like Job. Understand that the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Trying to make all this stuff up in 2 seconds when nobody's listening because it's panic, And I thought that was the last time I was going to see my family. And on that ambulance trip now to the hospital, I was out of my body 3 different times. On the ceiling of the ambulance, and I'm sitting there and I'm floating and I'm looking down and I see my body and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm outside of my body. How is this possible? Is this what I made of my life? I had everything. The Lord, I could see the Lord gave me kids, 3 beautiful children, gave me a wife, and look what I've done. I've ignored everything. I've spit in his face at every possible chance, and just did what I wanted to do, what was pleasing to me, to my flesh. So, as I'm going through that, peace, craziness in my body. Peace, craziness. Now, I say peace because I was out of my body and I wasn't in the, convulsions or whatever that I was in when I was in my body. When I was out of it, I was cool. I was just, it was real peaceful, but I was in pitch blackness. So it was peace, but I was scared. I was like, what is this? You know what I mean? Where am I at and what's going to happen now? The transition from my body was just like me stepping over. You know what I'm saying? So I realized I don't know where I'm at, and I was pretty scared to be in that darkness, even though it was peace. So I remember, going to the emergency room, and they, putting IVs and all in me, and anyway, I just said, Lord, if you want to take me tonight, then I accept your will. But if you let me live, I'll do better. And with that, I sat back, relaxed, and, thank God I stabilized, and I made it, Maybe 10 hours later, I was discharged, And I remember one of the guys saying to me, one of the ambulance guys coming in later on in the shift, he came over and he said, "Oh, you made it, man." And I said, yeah, I was thanking him for helping me and all. And he said, I seen guys come in here in less shape than you and leave with a sheet over them. And he said, I didn't think, I wasn't sure if you were going to make it. And I thought to myself, man, I came that close to death. And but by the grace of God, I returned home that night, early the next morning. And from that point on, I sought out detox and all that. And within a couple of days, I was in a detox and trying to do my thing and get sober. So when I get done with that stuff, that program, I come home, I, feel myself out, get used to myself a little bit, and I go back to work. Now, when I go back to work, first day I'm back to work, a guy's chopping out some heroin. So it's like, I go to step towards him, because I see the heroin. My mind's telling me, go get a bump, but it's like, wait, I can't do that. I got to live a sober life now. So for 6 months, I tried to live sober, and I did live sober. I didn't drink. I was still smoking cigarettes and stuff, but no weed, no no beer, no alcohol, no drugs. So, and even during that time, I couldn't leave the job. I had a prayer book with me, and I would, there'd be times I just pull the prayer book out and start praying to God or reading a page or two because I needed help. I wanted to go to the bar or this or that. I couldn't drive around town because every street in that town I had partied on or done something on that would trigger me. And I was worried I might fall into drinking again. So for 6 months I chased God. Now, I didn't do it right because I didn't know how to get to God. I didn't know how to approach God or how to come to God. I would go to church at break time or lunchtime, sit in church, pray. But at the same time I was looking into other things like the occult. I was looking into astral travel, psychics, mediums. I was looking into past lives. I had even attended some big hotel or something, one of these famous psychic mediums. There's maybe been 100 people there, and you pay $100 and go see them. And it was like, I was trying with all my might to seek out the truth, but I was trying to come to Christ and also bringing in the occult, which isn't going to weigh out. You can't be with Jesus if you're with the occult. So I was confused, and I really did not know how to seek him out. Now, after 6 months of sobriety, I started to get weak and irritated, and because it was so hard for me every single day to get home, to get my butt in that house without pulling out of my driveway and going and get something to drink. It was such a tough struggle. And looking back, it was amazingly tough. But I started to get irritated, and I said to my wife, 6 months today. She said, 6 months for what? And I said, 6 months I've been sober. She's like, oh, that's good. I thought, that's good. Now being an adult, I'm supposed to do stuff for myself. But at that point, I had struggled through so much every day. I want a huge party or something, run a parade down the street or something. Let's break out a celebration. This is 6 months, man. Every day. Some of my days feel like they're 100 years from all this, So with that, I was like, you know what? Okay, or that's good, I'll show you good, So my whole mindset changed right there. And not that it's her fault, but, I was probably looking for a reason to do that because I was already irritated. So all of a sudden I go back, and I go back to drinking, and then I go back to drugging. And what they say is true. When you go back harder each time. And that was definitely holding true in this instance.